What's going on, guys? We're here right now. My name's Nick.
We're here. I'm Christian.
Yes, that is Christian. I never thought in my life I would be holding a microphone, and I am sitting here holding a microphone in front of my face.
We were holding microphones in our hands, talking into them.
Yes. So the reason why we're doing this, the reason that we have came to this conclusion, hey, we don't talk enough. We kind of don't. So one of the biggest things is that we really don't talk a lot about what we do. We kind of just do things. And a lot of people ask us, why did you do this and why did you do that? Sometimes we don't know. We're just doing it without even explaining what we're doing. And sometimes I really don't think people care as much as they do. And they do. And you kind of want to know every little detail about what's going on. And sometimes I don't think about those things. And you're like, oh, that's why that happened. And that's why that happened. But yes, we're here with the microphone in our hand. It's not a podcast. Maybe it's a podcast. I don't know.
We're not calling it a podcast.
No, we are not.
We like to be different.
Yes.
If you guys know us, we like to be different.
Yes.
We're gonna come up with a title for this, but it's not gonna be your normal talk podcast type thing. That's not the goal here.
Nope.
We're gonna come up with something crazy to do or something. We're gonna figure it out as we go, but we're gonna make sure it's special.
Christian, what is Do It All?
It's a very broad term.
Should we just bring it back to when we were kids?
Yeah, I mean, Do It All is kind of the title that I would like to use for our life, if that makes sense. I mean, we've just done it all our whole life, so this is kind of the collective word we would use for everything we do.
Yeah,
I mean, that's all you can really say.
Yeah, we really don't know how to explain it to you. The best way to say it is we have actually been doing it all ever since we were born. I say we just take you back to those days because that's why we're doing this. We got to tell you what it means. First off, obviously God. I want to thank God for even letting us do this right now. We're super blessed to be able to be doing this. But that's where it all started. That's the first thing, God. But let's go to what is the first do it all thing that we did it.
Yeah, music. Music. For me, it was music. I was 2 years old, drum set, little Ludwig kit. My dad got it from Ted Hebert's music or parents. And yeah, we were rocking and rolling right from the beginning. And Nick, I don't know. Nick had the drums that I had, he would play the drums that I had or my dad's drums. So it wasn't like he didn't get really anything like that. But I mean, what was your first thing?
My first memory was a skateboard, if I want to say.
X Games skateboard from
Toys R Us. Yep, with the Mountain Dew helmet I bought. But no, when the heck did music come along in my life? Because I remember you got that Ludwig kit as a kid. Then you had the drums in the room.
You just did it because I did it, I guess.
Well, yeah, it's probably because it was there.
Did it?
Yes. Our dad was a drummer in a band, and we just kind of we've been a musician family our whole life. But okay, so anyway, so I would say him
I'll
music.
say one thing because we're talking music right now. I forgot to preface this to Nick. Just make sure the mic is in front of your mouth.
Oh, my bad.
Because that is the biggest thing. That a lot of people, well, I'm an audio engineer, so I geek out over that stuff, but I want the sound to be perfect for you guys because, that's my bread and butter. So,
our whole life we skateboarded, we snowboarded, played baseball, motocross. We walked. We put one foot in front of the other. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I grew up in that era of action sports where it was like X Games and like Travis Pastrana, and we grew up on Nitro Circus and So that whole world, Shaun White, snowboarding, everything, that was our world. That's what we lived on. When X Games came on, it was the sickest, greatest thing ever. And besides the music, because that's the kind of, I guess those worlds kind of clash. But besides the music, that's where our whole world kind of lived in.
Yeah. Here's the thing with Do It All. It became a moto heavy channel. And I wasn't me and Christian, we just started motocrossing at that point. When we started this channel, we hadn't rode since we were what?
I was 12, you were 10. And I guess we'll start there because that's what I guess most of you guys know us for. You guys know us mostly for motocross, so let's explain that part because there is a lot of parts to this whole thing of Do It All because we do so much. So, but I guess we could start with that.
It's been a year since, it's been 2 years since we had the channel, right?
Yeah, a year and a half.
Yeah, so how old were you? 24. So I'm 23 now. He's 25. So I think I was about 21 when we started this channel, and we just got back into motocross. I think we rode the year before, but barely knew anything. But what it was it just kind of happened that way. Me and Christian were just riding at that point again in life and just making videos, not even knowing what really riding was at the time. And
never trained like when we were kids. We never serious, never race, all that stuff. But like I played motocross video games.
Of course,
my
we did.
whole
Both
entire
we did.
life.
Of course, we did.
But I was heavy into it and serious with it, and always watched Supercross, always watched outdoors, always was into it, always geeked.
Yeah.
Until maybe I guess there was a 2.5, 3 year period where I didn't because we were being teenagers.
Yeah.
But until I got back into it heavy again around COVID when I lived out in Seattle. But
it just kind of happened that way because we were riding so much all of a sudden. Like we're like, every dollar that we get, let's just go spend it at the track. And then we started at what was the first place? I think it was Moto Bros. Christian was down here. I wasn't down here. I was playing baseball, and I think that was my first pro year of baseball too. So when we started that YouTube channel, it was my whole goal to start the YouTube channel when we were, I think like 10 to 11 years old. We have old YouTube videos out, and I wanted to start it from that day, but I got so caught up in the world, and I was going through a lot of insecurities of getting caught up in what people believed, you know, of what people thought about me. And that really stuck in my head. And it took me so long to realize just, you know, whatever you do is you, and it was really hard to get over that bump. And then once we made that first video, instantly right there, I knew, I was like, this is what we're going to be doing. Like I dreamed of it. I saw it since I was a kid. Me and Christian doing this together, starting a clothing brand, starting a YouTube channel. Like ever since we were kids, we wanted to do this, and we just said, screw it. I don't care what anybody thinks. Let's just do it. And it just happened to be moto heavy. And before that, we were doing so much other than motocross. I played pro baseball for a while. You were doing, you know, music stuff like crazy.
Audio engineer. I guess for our backstory, when we were younger, I got my first bike when I was 5. Nick was 4. My uncle and cousins raced back in like NESC, NEMA in New England, Southwick, tracks like that.
Yeah, we grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire.
Yes,
that's where we grew up.
Manchester, New Hampshire.
So we're not used to this Florida life. We had winters too. So
yeah, that's where, hence the snowboarding and hence all that.
Yep,
we're kind of still new to Florida in the grand scheme of things, but yeah. So my uncle and cousins race and everything, and one day I remember they came over, and my cousin Jason was trying to distract me. We were playing a dirt bike video game, funny enough, and he's distracting me, and my uncle comes up the driveway with a Suzuki JR50, and I was so ecstatic. Like I was already into the motocross video games and everything, and obviously watching Nitro and X Games, everything. It's all I wanted to do was ride dirt bikes, and ended up getting that. And we went in the backyard, me and my dad, and the throttle stuck, and my dad poured concrete, so there's a bunch of wood against the shed, and I went straight into that wood, and it all toppled down on me. And I'll never forget that. Throttle stuck wide open. I was shaking, kind of freaked out, but I could not wait to get back on it. And it kind of started from there. And I guess I rode around the backyard a little bit until Nick got his PW. And yeah, you can talk about that.
My dad came home after working concrete, and I just want to say, I've always wanted to say this. I thank my parents so much for all that they do for us. We truly wouldn't be here without them. They mean the world to me and Christian. We're a very, you know, as I say it, like we're tight as a family. We go to each other with everything. We don't let the reality of the world kick in, if that makes sense. We don't care however old we get. We'll never separate from each other. We're always going to be tight with each other, and that's just how we are. We're very love and trust family. That's what we sit on. And yeah, my dad came home from concrete. He'd always work late nights, and he would always say to me and Christian too, this is another thing he did, he would put his hands behind his back, and he'd be like, all right, you two pick a hand, and I'd always pick the right hand, Christian would always pick the left, and he'd come home with some surprise. And then this time he didn't say pick a hand, he said come outside. And I was like, oh geez. Well, I wasn't even saying oh geez at that point, bro, because I didn't know that word. I think I was 6 years old?
4
years old. Okay, wow. And then yeah, he showed up and brought the P-Dub out, and I instantly, because I was riding bicycles, that was something me and Christian were doing a lot. We were riding bicycles in the backyard, and that he brought it, and I just couldn't believe it. It was the coolest thing ever. Same situation for him. It's like all that Nitro that you grew up watching, all the freestyle, I was definitely more into the freestyle side of things. He loved racing, and I always wanted to be like Nate Adams. So when I had that Yamaha and I just felt like him, I was like, this is all I ever wanted. And we had the coolest backyard on planet Earth. We lost our house in New Hampshire because of just, things that have happened. And yeah, that house is where it all started, because we had a perfect hill for snowboarding. We had a perfect concrete slab for skateboarding. And then we had a perfect track for dirt bikes. And it was the yard. That backyard is where it all went down. That should be in a museum to us for how much that backyard means. That house is our everything. And it's sad to lose it, but it's also good, because what we've seen in Florida is always, a lot more people believe in dreams down here than they do in New Hampshire. You believe in a dream up there, it's different than down here, because you can make it happen. It's kind of like a mini LA here. And that might be attributed to snow, what we're into too. I mean, yeah,
it's snow and just staying inside and kind of just got to grit it out. I think that's New England. Yeah. It's very gritty.
Very gritty, yeah, for sure.
We've definitely got that from that, is just being able to live in the fire and the heat of everything, and like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, a lot of stuff's on your back, but you can take it, type of thing. You know what I mean? So
I always said I'm from a city where nobody feels like me, but I would say us, because we were always doing stuff different. We'd wear skinny jeans to middle school, to even elementary school. We went to a Christian school, and I'd still wear my skinny jeans or anything I could do, my pink skinny jeans, or I was so different. I was so skater, and so was Christian, and we got so ripped on and made fun of for it, because we were trying to be ourselves, because we wanted to be like those MX kids, and we wanted to be those skater type kids. And it didn't really fly up there as much as it flies down here. You know what I mean? It's kind of really different up there. This brings it back into motocross. If we just followed that scene, and the scene was, motocross is just it's the coolest people to us. It was just this cool feeling, because the music and the video games that you'd listen to, from just the attitudes the kids had, and put that in with skateboarding and snowboarding. It's just this culture that you can't explain.
But the whole motocross thing is, we grew up riding in the trails, and we were never trained. We just had fun with our dad, and, of course, watched Nitro videos and did all that stuff, and just kind of had fun with it, and just kind of what kids nowadays call core. It's kind of like that. We grew up in the era with Carmichael, Stu, Reed, everything. So, but saying that, we grew up just having fun in the trails and everything, and never took it too serious. I mean, I always kind of wanted to, but I was just kind of following whatever path we were kind of given or whatever. Well, but Nick would do stuff like, even in the trails, he'd still be crazy. He'd do things on the P-dub, like he'd pin it all the way through the trail, and then like you'd be behind him, and he would just like stop. He would just stop randomly. Like you're supposed to put your hand up or whatever. That's like the trail thing. You're supposed to put your hand up and be like, I'm stopping, but Nick would just stop randomly, and like you couldn't kind of control him.
Yeah,
a lot of swap out in the whoops in the trails too.
Well, see, that's something.
Being pinned.
There's two things that you guys got to know here: crazy brains. So this is the biggest thing. Christian was always smart through everything, and I was always just, well, I was a test dummy for everything. It would be, we'd be making jumps in the backyard with our bicycles, and
when we couldn't ride our dirt bikes, we'd ride bicycles and make big jumps.
Yeah, we had the 1080 ramps, the old 1080 ramps, and we'd put like jump to jump as far. Let's see how far we can stretch this. And Christian's like, dude, you're going first. And I'd look at him at the top of the hill and be like, all right. And somehow you're just eating crap, and you're sitting there, and it's like,
I'd always send him first.
Don't go.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
The lip's a little sketchy. And those 1080 ramps, if you didn't put a block of concrete or wood behind them, they slide. So what would happen is it would slide, and you'd just be like slipping in air, and you're eating it or you cleared it. And it's like, from that day on, no other sport can get that feeling of being in air and almost accomplishing something like that.
Yeah. So when we were younger, it was like that. It was like we would either be riding the dirt bikes or the bicycles, and we would make full-on tracks in the backyard for the bicycles and humongous gaps, like Nick said. And Nick was jumping in on a Barbie bike we found free on the side of the road. I had a nice BMX bike.
Yeah.
But that, and then when we weren't doing, when our dad was home from work, we could ride our dirt bikes. So then we would ride our dirt bikes, and we make the track in the backyard and have this one loop come down the concrete, back up the hill, everything like that.
And that's the coolest thing about our family. It would be, you know, we're all together at the dinner table every night. We're praying together. We're eating our food, and the last bit of sunset that's left, we're going out in the backyard and we're playing out there. And you know, with our mom, she was definitely very just dreams, like just, you know, don't stop believing yourself, never give up, just, you know, be who you are. And that really stuck in my head. And my dad was very, you know, just work hard and great things will come. And it was a perfect mixture that we got of, you know, believing in yourself and working hard. And I just can't thank them enough for that. You know, I mean, I'm so blessed to have both of our parents and you know, just to be here. But
I want to say a story. When we were in the backyard riding one day, we have the concrete we're talking about, we come down onto, and then there's an 8-foot drop off of like a retaining wall to the driveway. And, you know, I remember one day the throttle got stuck. Maybe I had an arm pump, I don't know. But then I went through the fence and came bombing down the hill through the fence, and I dropped down the 8-foot drop onto the driveway, onto my butt. And I remember my mom coming down like screaming bloody murder, like I was dead.
Oh yeah.
And I thought I was dead too, but then I remember like feeling like, oh, I don't feel a thing. Like I just got up and walked away. Which that's
the kid
just
bones.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of just stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like obviously there was crashes and things like that. We always had scrapes on us. I would love it. We used to look at cuts on our knees and go, that's so cool.
I waited every day to see if I could break a bone just so I could go to school and be like, this is sick. I'm not joking. That was my mentality. Like, and once you get older, I'm to the point now where I've hit the ground. I've hit my head so many dang times that it gets to a point where it's like, all right, yeah, you're kind of smartening up. You get a little smarter and you realize you're just not your kid self anymore. It's not as cool as it used to be, but it still always will be cool in the back of your brain. That's why you still hop on a bike after every crash or anything you go through. And that's literally, you know, that's how it is. And so basically, yeah, we were into moto when we were kids. And then while we were doing that, we were also skateboarding every day. Like I said, on that little pad we had in the backyard, we'd make a skate park. And then when it was wintertime, we would make these roll-ins from the top of our wood shed and make the biggest jump we could, learn 360s, backflips, front flips in that moment. And then
things like that.
And you know what was the coolest thing? Then we'd run downstairs and go play music because we had a whole drum room and a bunch of, you know, guitars and stuff like that down in the studio we had downstairs. And it was a forever playground at our house. It was a mini Pastrana land, because that's what we really thought in our head, and we made it like that. There was always something to do at our house. Every kid, you know, every person always wanted to be over our house because we always had something going on or something to do.
Got on an 85, 12 years old. Nick was on a 65, 10 years old, and we just started doing kind of track type of thing. Again, not training, but like we were just like kind of riding tracks here and there. And then baseball got serious. And
baseball was serious ever since I was a kid.
For him, yes. For me, baseball was, it was fun, you know, whatever. But it was it got serious for music for me, and you know, it was a lot of money. Well, I got serious in music at like 13.
Okay,
right after that next year. And it was a lot of money for our parents with everything we did, right? So like music's a lot of money, all the instruments. Baseball is a lot of money. Doing all the showcases, everything Nick did and everything. So it was kind of like you got to choose. And we kind of, I guess, you know, we didn't even make a decision. It wasn't like we sat down and made a decision.
We just kept doing it. That's
it was just kind of like consciously, like we just like stopped riding because like I think.
No, because mom was like, you know, she didn't want us getting hurt.
Kind of wanted us more baseball, and because Nick was good at baseball and I was getting better at music. So it kind of made more sense.
Right.
Because you got to think about it with motocross, we never were in the sense of like we knew what was kind of going on, like we knew we had to train and do this and do that, right? Like if you're at 12 and you're on 85 and you're at kind of the speed I'm at, you're like you're it's hard to kind of do anything amazing with it, right? So
I know, and I'd always ask,
which I guess you could. I shouldn't say that because you could with the right training. We have seen kids do that, but then, you know, fast forward, like we said, watching Supercross is outdoors, never leaving motocross. I guess for that, like I said, that little span of time I did because we were off doing cars. We got into cars really heavy for a long time and going out with friends and doing all, you know, the whole thing. And then when I moved to Seattle, I did the whole music thing. And of course we're breaking it down so that those are whole other stories, but just to put the context in context here.
So here's the hardest thing about Do It All and just making a thing like this right now. Me and Christian even sat down and said, dude, how are we going to even start this? Like, how the heck do we even just get it all out right now? So if it's a little scatterbrained sometimes, it's because there's so many stories. Each and every word we say, there's a story to that word. That's seriously how we have lived 10 lives, and I'm not joking. Like, we have been around famous people to millionaires to the lowest to this and that, and we've been in the situations people would kill to be in, and it's hard to just say it all right now, so we're trying our best to just get it out. So if things are a little scatterbrained, I do apologize about that, but we're just trying to explain it the best we can, and that's why there would have to be more of these videos to make. But go ahead, sorry, I just had to explain that.
No, you're good. I'm trying to keep it on the rails somewhat here. Until, where was I? Yeah, Seattle. And then I started watching, outdoors again. I remember that season with Cinderella and Sexton was a rookie and everything. Or the end of Supercross where Tomac won the title and COVID and all that, whatever. So then, getting back into it heavy, I started playing MX bikes really heavy. I'm like kind of like very OG MX bikes with that. That was a long time ago now. But Nick ended up getting, I don't even know why he got a dirt bike. You were working with Dad, and I think, you left baseball and came home, and I think we just somehow got into dirt bikes again, and you went and bought a dirt bike.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll explain this real quick. I played baseball my whole life. Like, every single time I was skating, snowboarding, and doing all this other stuff, baseball was seriously in the back of my head. Like, dude, I know we were good at a lot of what we did, but baseball was something I took very seriously. It was what I was training for, and I got to a point up until high school, COVID happened. I was getting looked at by a couple teams. So basically, I was coming out of high school, and COVID happened. They lowered the rounds down to 5 rounds. There was 30 rounds. I was supposed to get at least something by the Red Sox, and didn't end up happening. But it would have been cool for my hometown. Then I ended up going to a grad school. But what I was saying is I was so serious about baseball, and time again, all these opportunities that I was given within the sport, it kept falling. So I kept going in and out of baseball, and I'd work with my dad doing concrete. And then I was like, I got nothing. I might as well just buy a dirt bike again. Let me just get back into it. So I went on Marketplace. This guy in the ghetto of Lawrence, Massachusetts, I bought a roached 250 that had a clutch that was beat, and I took it out one day and just went full goon, and didn't know anything what I was doing, didn't know anything, and just kept like I was a kid, full pinning it. And I had no clue, because it's something I really never knew as much as, everything else I knew, but I knew I loved it. And I was more on the freestyle side of things, so I just want to get as big as air as I could. And you got to learn to go through those goon stages to understand discipline. It's anything. It's seat time in anything. You just learn from your mistakes. With Christian, he got very blessed. He slowly, like a snail, figured out his speed. And me, I had to crash 20 times to figure out, okay, don't do that again. And that's seriously the truth. And, when you hit your head so many times, it gets to a point like, I'm going to slow down a little bit.
So at that time too, I was like getting really heavy into it. So then of course, I started going down the rabbit hole of like Rhino and AJ Canzero, and this is when jets get bigger too. So like the whole technique thing becomes like huge or whatever, which it always was big when you were younger and everything, but it changed. More emphasis was put on it. So then I started learning and studying, because if anyone knows me, when I do something, I study it like hell, and I just get into it so much. And
I'm not that way. I'm more like I
can't
just watch,
do it.
I just watch somebody do something and I can do it.
So I go into the specifics and the science of it. So, I started researching a lot of it, and then I end up coming home. Right, I end up coming home. I didn't have a dirt bike at this point. Only Nick had a bike, and the clutch was blown. And I was like, when I was coming home, like, oh yeah, we'll just go to the track. We'll kind of share a bike or whatever. And that never happened, because
the clutch blew.
Well, yeah, the clutch blew, and a bunch of other life stuff happened.
This is a very heavy part of our life. Was like 2020.
Yeah,
as soon as COVID
21,
hit, 21. That was probably the
coming home from Seattle and everything, and that was a whole different thing. We might get into, but so. a year goes by, we do a whole snowboarding thing. We were like heavy into snowboarding, and then we filmed snowboarding, and then like did a little YouTube stuff with snowboarding. And then that summer comes around, and I end up buying a dirt bike. I bought a YZ250, four stroke, obviously. 2015 with like 12 hours on it, and so I was like stoked. You know what I mean? And then me and Nick started riding. We ended up going to that year skiing. We met our buddy Phil, and our buddy Phil, a really good rider and everything. So he kind of took us riding. We went to MX23 in I think it's Brookfield or something, Mass, and for like opening day that year. And in New England, there's a ton of snow, right? So the snow melts and makes the dirt like muddy. Like that beginning of the year, like the ruts are like you wouldn't even believe, dude. It's like looks like the end of Daytona Supercross. So, you know, me and Nick go out, and I remember thinking in my head, because who we were surrounded with, we're pretty good on dirt bikes. Like everyone we were surrounded with when we were younger, like no one could touch us on a dirt bike. But of course, we were in a totally different group of people.
Actually, no, I sucked on a dirt bike super bad. I was horrible.
Okay. Well, me, I wasn't fast at all. Not at all. Not fast at all. But in my head, because who we were surrounded with, we weren't racing and everything, I was fast.
I still don't think I'm good on a dirt bike. That's and I'll never admit that because I wasn't in it long enough. I didn't find the science as much as I did with a lot of other things. So that's what's crazy too, is with this isn't even our highest knowledge in what we know. I'd have to say it's other things. I mean, but that's what's so fun. That's what's so funny about this channel to me. If you told me when I was sitting in middle school that you're going to be doing motocross videos, I wouldn't believe it. I promise you I wouldn't believe it.
Yeah, I didn't think you were ever going to get back into motocross.
No, I didn't.
I didn't think we were ever going to ride again.
That's why it's funny, because so many people know us as the Moto kids, but don't look at me like I don't know much. I just hang around people that tell me what to do now. And that's kind of how it's been, you know, and you learn discipline from that.
Yeah, so we go out that one day, and I remember thinking, I'm going to be so good. Like, I'm like, it's just going to come right back to me. I'm a natural, like, because I rode street bikes for a while too. So I was like, I'm just a natural on a motorcycle, right? And I get on the track, and I just get humbled instantly. I remember we went out like C-Class. Just, dude, this track's a backyard track. Like, trees everywhere, like, tight as can be. And there was probably like 40, 50 C riders going out for opening day. And I remember like being at the front of it thinking like, oh yeah, like get away from these kids. Like, I'm going to be better than that. And instantly get on the track. I'm looking down at my fender at the ruts, and I can't even look ahead of me to go somewhat quick.
Well, yeah, I was out there with him too.
So fast. I'm like, dude, I'm freaking. I was just trying to survive.
Well,
I was rolling the jumps, and Nick on the flip side is out there just wicked. Just absolutely wicked.
Guys,
and
there's
no
a tree.
Technique, no nothing. Just hold the throttle open and go.
Nope, absolutely goon level. I let that thing eat, man. I remember coming around a corner, and I was in the lead of this C-Class. So think about that. Like, that's actually funny. I went out first thinking I was that good. Like, I'm like, I'm the shit, dude. I'm going to go out here and show Christian that's back here what I can do, because our buddies were there. So I was like, dude, I got to show what's going on here. Full throttle. Didn't even get around a lap, and I ended up into a tree. I side swapped off of a muddy face. I was holding it open, and I would remember kids looking at me going like, dude, what the f*** is that? And I was like, hell yeah. And I ended up into a tree. I think knocked out for a second.
I saw him on the tree, blew his radiators.
And I woke up.
He had a $200 Fox V1. And I told him 1,000 times, I'm like, dude, if we're going to seriously ride, you need a good helmet.
Here we go, because this goes perfect into what I want to talk about next, is injuries. And guys, I don't think you understand, and this is another thing, with every sport that we have done, music's the only thing I haven't had an injury in, knock on wood, but music's the only thing. Every other thing within baseball, snowboarding, skateboarding.
Yes, he did just knock on his groin area.
Yes, that's wood.
That's it. That's a quirk we do. Yeah. We have a lot of quirks.
Yes, it's superstition. It's crazy, but with our injuries, it's pretty crazy. Christian got very lucky, but ever since I was a kid, I kind of always had to take, like I said, I was the test dummy, so I always had just some type of, injury, always. And even my head, I always hit my head. Like, I have had so many head hits in my life, it's not even funny. And a lot of people look at you like, oh, you're stupid from that or this, and that. No, I'm fully aware. I know I play the dumb card to a lot of people, but in the back of my head, it's all a way of knowing how things going down and just gaining more knowledge of just acting like you don't know much. It's more of an innocence, and I know what I'm doing. But yeah, no, from hitting my head so much, it's catching up to me a little bit now of just basically I get, migraines here and there, and it is what it is. But no, I don't even know where to start with this injury thing because there's so many.
I guess we can break it down in the timeline because we can continue the timeline while talking about the injuries. I think.
Okay.
So we rode a lot that year, and that year was kind of a building year, to kind of it was figuring out, right? Like Nick was like full on goon, so I was slowly teaching Nick like the simple basics, like getting your knees equal or behind the pegs and getting back in certain situations, like getting over the bars in certain situations, like in ruts and things like that, and balls of your feet, all those things. So so I was slowly teaching Nick that, and he's going like this. He's like all the way up here, like holding the throttle, and it slowly is going like this because of not the speed. He was getting safer at this angle, right? This is the safer angle, right?
Yes, because I crashed so much, and
So we were riding a lot, and we went out to this track at MX 101. Something always happened at MX 101.
Oh, I don't. I hate MX 101 so much.
The first kind of big crash that Nick had, right? There's a big like 100-foot table there or whatever. And again, this might not have happened now just because more city time on the bike and knowing how to case things and stuff.
Yeah.
But Nick was out on the track with me, and he hit this big table, a couple times or whatever, and he wanted to show me like in front of me, so he just came off of it pinned.
And the wind was crazy that day.
The wind was crazy, so it pushed him back.
Yeah, it's like in a gully, this track where it's like it always catches so much wind. And I went off this full pinned, and I just remember I was like, dude, I saw just coming up so short. I knew it was coming up short, and my head just slammed off the handlebars.
He didn't come from like the corner like pinned. He like kind of like just pinned it late because he saw me or something, I think, and that's why he might have made it. Maybe he didn't see bounce. I don't even remember. But
I just I
remember
ever know,
you were like almost pinned pretty much going off of it.
Each and every story I talk about, I can feel exactly what that moment felt like of just how heavy it was. And I just remember slamming my head so hard off the bars and just out. I don't remember.
So yeah, he landed and his feet blew off because where he wasn't probably sitting right on the bike or whatever, but his face went off the bars, and then he just bounced off over the whole landing into like the woods area down in the right, like all this like long grass and stuff. And yeah, he like came out there like crawling out, like, and he was like so dazed and confused. And I remember asking him when like they brought him on the cart and everything over to the thing. I'm like, oh yeah, what hospital do you want to go to? And he's like, what do you mean, where do you want to go eat? Like, he was so out of it. He didn't know. I was like, do you know who Jet Lawrence is? You know how Lawrence? Who's that? Like, nothing.
But I remember, see, this is the thing. I remember with my eyes, but your brain's so just out of it. Like you're just so dizzy, and I don't remember. Like, you're so kind of fight or flight at that time that when people asking you questions, you just don't know what's going on. And that's kind of what I remember is like,
as a brother, you're holding it in because this is like kind of my first experience of something. And then not medical, but like riding wise, sure, yeah, like head like hit like that wise, yeah. So, well, I guess not. Never mind. Nick has had plenty of times before that.
Yeah, dude.
So I shouldn't say that. But my first time like experienced like a motocross crash of Nick's, like so a big one, I should say, as an adult. So I was very scared inside. And if anyone knows the feeling when you're like so scared inside, but you don't want to let that person know, or not let them know, you got to be like cool and calm and collected and whatever. It's hard. It's hard and it's scary. So
that's why. Okay. That's why with Christian, anytime it's super hard to ever watch, we're brothers of love. Like, we love each other so much. So to see him ever go out there and anything ever happen to him, or anything that ever happens to me, it's you. You know what I mean? Like, it's the same pain as if it were to happen to you, because that's just who we are. You know what I mean? And each and every time, there's always a moment that we're trying to get something done, and it just kind of turns wrong sometimes. And you just know in that moment, you're sitting in the hospital crying, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? And then you ask yourself again, because this is what I love to do. And it's the same thing of the Austin Faulkners you watch, Travis Pastrana, you ask them the same question. And you look at people look at you, and it's funny, we had a conversation about this the other day at the track. We're kind of psychopaths if you think about it. Like, people look at us and go, how the heck are you doing what you're doing? It's like, you said it perfect. It's like psychopath activity, but it's so normal. You know what I mean? Like moto, skateboarding, snowboarding, all those action sports, you got to have a different level of a brain to be accustomed to that. Like, you can't not think you have to be so focused, and the focus in these sports teach you so much discipline in life if you can look at it correctly. That's the best thing. If you can take that, it also
creates a drug-like feeling too, though, because that focus
and every time
allows you to think nothing.
Yes, and every single time.
There lies the addiction of why you do it.
I've been in the hospital bed so many times with internal bleeding, with breaking my tailbone 45 feet out of the air, feeling like I was paralyzed.
Well, that's the next one at 101. Well, that was the very next one after this.
There's so many, man. Like, I've had so many crashes that you can't. This video will not be. It'd be way too long to talk about. But I just want to go through it short. Basically of yes, I broke my tailbone. I couldn't.
Well, let's go through that one.
Okay, I mean, if you want to.
Yeah, no, I was taking photos, and there's this like step up, and it's a corner,
at 101,
and it comes at 101, it comes down and up. And if people know, it's called the spectator jump. And this way, it was coming up this time because they reverse it.
It was sun. It was the sun was going down that day,
and it was a late day.
There was a rock in the lip, and I was getting better. I was on my 150 at this point.
He was pretty good at this point with technique and everything like that. So.
I was starting to learn how to slightly whip, but it wasn't like a goon whip. Like I actually felt like I knew what I was doing. And Christian was taking photos. He had this account called Negative Films at the time. He was doing photography for Vital MX.
Oh, I mean, I eventually did stuff like
or was it Verb?
Patra and Verb and stuff like that.
Yeah, whatever. Verb Moto. And then we were like, all right, dude, let's build this photography page. Let's go get some photos of us, me learning how to whip. So we stayed, and I couldn't see the lip because the shade was down, and I didn't really know much discipline in moto yet. So I just went for it again, went to go whip. And when I went to go, I was going super fast to scrub it because you know how you got to go fast to scrub. And when I went to go scrub, I bucked off of a rock. And instantly I said, do I stay on the bike? I was way up in the air. And instantly I said, do I stay on the bike or do I throw the bike? And instantly the only thing my brain thought was throw the bike. I threw the bike down. I saw it go down. And all of a sudden I'm flying through the air. I see the landing. I go, oh. And I look back at the landing. And then I was like, oh no. And I was like overshot. At least 35 feet up in the air. Just flailing my arms alone.
Less, give or take, yeah, but
boom, straight to my heels, then straight to my butt. Instantly couldn't feel anything. I couldn't feel my whole body. It was paralyzed, and I thought I was paralyzed. And I sat there crying because I knew that I couldn't feel anything, how much pain I was in. And somebody tried picking me up, and I just fell to the ground because I couldn't feel anything. And so they instantly thought something was really wrong, and I thought I was going to get air flighted something. I couldn't see well again. It's just how it was. And they got me to the ambulance, and this guy started touching my back. And this is probably about 20 minutes after the accident, and he's touching my back, and all of a sudden he hit some type of nerve, and I got all my feeling back, and it was the most pain I've ever felt. I almost passed out because it was so much pain. And at the same time, as we're riding to the hospital, he's like, all right, we got to rush you to the hospital, blah, blah, blah. They think I had that something was wrong. And the whole time he's trying to get a needle in. I've had over, I'd say 30 doctors not be able to get a needle into my arms. I don't know why. I mean, I got thick skin, but they just can never get a needle into my veins. And he's missing it, and he's sweating, getting his sweat inside my arms at this point, and he's freaking me out, and he's going, oh no. And I'm like, what do you mean, oh no? And any doctor that says that, I hope if anybody's ever watches, don't say that, because that scares the hell out of somebody when you're going through pain. Is when a doctor says, oh no, you go straight into shock. You know what I mean? And you're like, I'm messed up here, and it doesn't help. We get to the hospital. I broke my tailbone, ruined some nerves in my back. I couldn't use the bathroom for 4 weeks. I was drinking liquid, and I had to do whatever. I'm not getting into that, but I couldn't use the bathroom, and it was horrible. And
had to carry him
at that
everywhere.
moment, I sat at Christian, looked at Christian, I was crying. I said, I'm so sorry, dude, for everything I've done. I don't know why I'm doing this. Every single crash, I said that. I was sitting there crying, saying, I'm done. I will never ride again. and there's, let's say, another 20 crashes in between this. So every time I'm in the hospital, I'm sitting there and I'm crying. I'm saying, I won't do this. I won't do this. So all the pain that you see Austin Faulkner or Travis talk about, I've been there. I know that feeling of how just much it hurts, and you don't know why you're doing what you're doing. And yeah, that's kind of that story. And then there's plenty more. I mean, even with my wrist, I have 2 plates and 7 screws in my wrist from, I'm sure, a crash that you got to see on this channel. I broke my collarbone then. I hit my head super hard that day, and I ruined nerves in my head. I still, to this day, get very, very bad nerve pain within my head, in my neck. And it's just always migraines, like consistently a lot of migraines. And it's something that I'm trying to figure out. If anybody is to this point in the video and can tell me anything they know about nerves or any way to help, I'm trying to do the best I can to eat clean, to always stay strong, to always stay healthy, to run, to make sure I'm healthy, to heal this stuff. And it's my body's feeling it, because over the years, it's not just moto that I'm crashing. Again, I was a catcher, so I'm on my knees my whole life. So my knees are worn down, and also skateboarding, taking all those slams and head hits there, and then snowboarding, taking all those head hits there. There's too much to talk about on here. And we can get into it on another, if you ever are interested, on another thing, but it's not much I want to stay on. All I can tell you is that I know what it feels like to feel a lot of fear when you crash, but your brain, once it heals, it's just how it naturally is. You want to get back on a bike. You want to get back to what you're doing, and you don't think it's possible in the moment, but anything's possible if you love it a lot, you know? So.
And with God.
And well, obviously that, yeah, you can't do anything without God. And each and every time, that's the craziest thing. I've been so blessed, dude. That's something that is in our topic to talk about.
And not taking that advantage.
No,
either. Don't take that for advantage.
Do not,
because he could make anything happen at any time. So you can't just say, "Oh, he's gonna be safe this whole time." So I'm gonna keep going.
And that's the one biggest thing you have to with God. I mean, this is something I do have to talk about, and we'll get into this later. Is with God, it's not something that is just a feel good and makes you feel good. God is if you can learn to appreciate a very hard time and appreciate a very good time, and just really appreciate being in the present of life. And what was it? You know, living in the present is a gift. So a present, like a Christmas you're opening up, is a gift. So really appreciate where you are and live in the moment. And I'll get into that, but you if you want to say any of your injuries, go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, I've been blessed, I guess, for how much I've rode. Again, you know, that whole year we did a ton of riding, and I just slowly just trying to get better and better and better by, like, you know, I do have a thing where sometimes I hold myself back because I have a little bit of fear of something or whatever. But you know, that year ended by I got knocked out for like. And my whole life, I never got a concussion up to this point. So every time Nick got one, I was like, oh, you know what I mean? I believed him, but like I didn't really know. And he would always say, oh, it gets easier every time you hit your head. So I'd hit my head before, but never like got a concussion or anything. And then I got knocked out for like 10 seconds off this tunnel jump at 23. If anyone knows, you're supposed to jump at an angle. I jumped straight. I missed the landing, and I woke up way the hell over yonder in a puddle. You know, right side of my body feels like it's getting electrocuted, but the left side doesn't feel like that. Weirdest thing ever. So that put me out of commission for like 2 months, or 3 months. And then right after that, what? I said keep talking. Okay, he's walking over there for a second. But yeah, so right after that, after I was healing and all that, I ended up driving again after like 3 months, and I get rear-ended, and I slam my head again into an A-pillar in my car from getting rear-ended. So that was a whole nother 3 months. But you know, good for a while after that, and then, you know, just getting concussions here and there because it started getting easier and easier and easier from these stupid crashes. Got lucky because when I was a kid, I only broke my arm and my growth plate on my foot. But then, you know, that I guess that brings us to this past year. It's almost been a year actually now. I ended up breaking my back over some doubles when I just got on the Suzuki, because the neutral on the Suzuki was way different than the Yamaha. It hit it way too easy, and I did it in a couple of races before that too. I hit it way too easy. So I came over a double, and we were just hitting them, these 3 doubles, and it goes like 50-footer, 70-footer, and then 100-something footer. We were doing the 50, and I was just starting to hit the 70 because it was a brand new track to us. And I was in first, and I come around the corner, and I think I'm in second. And then when I hit the first one, I got it somehow in first. And I'm like, oh, I need to shift up. So in air, I shifted up, and I didn't click hard enough. I mean, I did it like the Yamaha, and I landed over the front of the bars. And then I'm going off the second one, and I'm like, as I look up, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to make this. I'm in neutral. So then I like split-second decision, jumped off the side of the jump trying to transfer it, and I was in neutral. So I'm like going over the bars. And there's like these rain ruts because it was a private track that didn't get maintained.
We were with Bear at that time, just eyeing up the jumps, and that's the first time in my life I've ever seen. That's the first time in my life I ever seen Christian take a crash. So I never knew as a brother.
The front tire got caught. I just want to say what happened. The front tire got caught, and then you could say it from your angle. Front tire got caught, and I went over the bars and like flipped, and the bike just landed on me.
I think that's when you broke your back. But from my standpoint, it looked it looked so gnarly, and I was like,
I couldn't feel my left leg either because I got a Charlie horse so bad from the handlebars, and I thought I was paralyzed.
I remember he's like, I can't feel my legs, and I did believe him because it was such a gnarly crash. I was like, dude, it might be paralyzed, and I instantly, I mean, even in the video when I broke my wrist, like Christian went there yelling because it's so much love and it's your feeling, you know what I mean? Even me, I was sitting there, no, dude, no, because it's like. It's very hard to watch.
Experience as much as I have.
Yeah,
I've had to experience plenty of his crashes.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, I mean that's like my, I broke. I was thank the Lord, I broke my spinal processes, which is the side thing and not your vertebrae. So I got very lucky on that.
Yeah,
it very blessed by God.
Again, and that's the biggest thing is guys, we're not testing fate here. We're not going out here and not being aware of what could happen at every moment. We are so aware of that. Even if the world ended in that feeling, that we just love God so much and we put so much faith in Him that it's just hard to explain how much love every single heartbeat we have and every single vein that pours through us is for God. I mean, the reason why we don't talk about it as much is because I don't want to be somebody that is I want to know my knowledge within God's word before we go out and preach it, because I'm okay with saying I don't know so I can learn more knowledge within God's word. But you don't understand, through everything we've ever gone through from when we were born, like I said, the first thing that we have been taught was God's word in God, and with every single crash that we take, with every single thing that we go through, we know that, Lord, we're so blessed to just even have a roof over our head and hold this mic in front of our face right now, to be able to talk to you guys, the ones that do care, the ones that, see what we see in this. And the one biggest thing that I want to talk about is, are you done with that story? Or
yeah.
Can I go into this?
That just to wrap up the motocross stuff, and that just kind of brings us to now, where, I don't even think we really know what we're doing sometimes, but we slightly do more than we did last time. But,
right.
We love it. And we love riding. And
so that's biggest
kind of
thing.
The whole story. And I guess it's still being written.
Yeah.
I mean, Nick's not riding as much anymore.
Yeah, just because I can't hold on to the bike that well. Every time my wrist is so weak that it's kind of like, what's his name? I just heard his story the other day. Who's that guy who his wrists were a Triumph?
Oh, Styles Robertson.
It's kind of the same thing as that. I can't hold on to the bike that well, and every braking bump kind of hurts really bad, and my wrist kind of wants to give out, so I do have to get it stronger there. And when I'm not hitting big jumps anymore, it's because my wrist can't take the impact or this and that. But I want to get into talking about how much this brand means to us, because I don't think anyone understands. Like, yeah, we might be, who we are right now, but you don't understand our mindset. We are on a level of, we take this so serious, you do not understand, because in everything we've ever done, we have taken it so serious, and we want to know the best and highest level of everything. So anybody who's a part of Do It All, anybody who is with us or near us, you don't understand how much passion is into this, and please be blessed, and please be, happy, that as happy as we are to be a part of this, and to be, because this is something that we do each and every day. And this isn't just something that is just some brand. This is a family brand. I know you hear that a lot, but anybody who comes into our life means so much to us because of every single moment we get. It means so much to us. And
that's who we are, and people don't understand. People don't understand us as much from the outside sometimes, but
because we don't talk,
we don't have any ill intentions. Where everything you see right now is what you get. This is us. We're not hiding anything. Our heart is on our sleeve, and we'll give our last dollar to someone who needs it, or take the shirt off our back or whatever, because that's just who we are, and that's what God has put in us, and we try to represent for Him, right? And a lot of people, and the people we're really close with, are like-minded in that way. You know what I mean? It's like there's something to be said about people, like that.
And they know that about us, and we also adapt to the people that we hang out with. You know what I mean? We definitely keep the people in our life that are just like-minded and open-minded and aren't, an I person or believe in a status, because so many kids I get around, and we live in a world of social media where you either do the right thing or wrong thing with it. And the best thing I can think that you could do with it is be an inspiration to kids, because the kids are what are coming up. The kids are the people, they are the next gen, right? So we have to be the best, what's the word I'm looking for? The best role model you can for that kid coming up. So the biggest thing is that when we take these kids on as athletes, and when we do this, we're trying to show them that you can do anything you want. You can be anything you believe in. Just because you have a high level of success right now, keep going. If you're a millionaire, keep going. If you're somebody that's at the bottom, keep going. There's Dominicans out there that I played baseball with each and every day that live in the most poorest shacks and that put everything on it. They say, I am living this life to get my family out of where they are. Do it for some reason. And if it's not your reason, we do it for God. And that's all that's what we do it for. But never forget where you are and what you have. Because I promise you right now, that's it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And enjoy the process for sure. Because if you told me last year, we'd be at 5,000 subscribers at this point, right? Like we were only like 500 or something like that. I'd have been like, no.
And think about it this way.
What? Like, enjoy the process of where you are, because you know what I mean? Like it's, if you said like last year, you'd be at 5,000 now, you know what I mean?
Just don't believe it.
You don't believe it for sure, but you almost...
Hold on. Put 5,000 people in a room.
Yeah.
Put 5,000 people in a room. Put one person in a room. You know what you'll do if you have a guitar or I don't know, that just came into my head. If you're in front of one person, you'll still do your best. So put one person in a room. If you just have one subscriber, if we could make videos and just inspire one person, that's the only reason why we're doing this, is for God and to inspire people and to just be yourself. And
enjoy that process.
Enjoy the process, because think about it this way: you talk to millionaires,
to those people.
Yeah, and we've been with successful people. You talk to them, right? They have everything. They have everything they want, but you want to know the biggest thing? They're not understanding the journey is the funnest part about what you're doing. And I'll tell you right now, money doesn't. People think you need money to have fun, to have this great life, to be in these great moments. No, you don't, because me and Christian have come from, we came from a blessed family, but we also know what it feels like to be at a very low, and to realize that every dollar that we get, I want to do the right thing with that dollar. I don't want to save it and be some greedy person. I want it to go to somebody that needs it. I want it to go to something that we love to do so we can inspire somebody else. We're not just doing this to make money. Everything that you see is who we are. I know we don't talk enough, but I'm telling you right now, from my mom's words telling me when I was a kid, believe in yourself. Never give up. Be who you are and trust yourself, and be happy that you're in this moment. That's it. That's how you're going to find happiness in this life. Give your every thanks to God, and I promise you're going to find happiness. Seek Him, find Him, love Him the best way you can. And I promise you, this life is so beautiful. It might be super dark right now, but we're just so blessed to live in this world. And we're so, people don't understand when I go, or when I go, dude, that's the best thing that ever happened, because I truly think that. I actually think in my head, I'm so thankful for every single moment that I can't believe it's happening. Like, I actually think this is the best thing ever, because I want it to always be the best thing ever. I want it to always means so much, because it really does mean so much to me in my heart. And that's the only reason you're going to ever have great times and good memories. People want to go and knock everybody's life and say that we're this person and that person. I got people hit me up from high school that made fun of me my whole life. These stories come true. When you believe in yourself and when you do what you want in this life, people are always going to want to be a part of your success. But I'll tell you right now, don't count them out. Still thank them, because they brought you there in some sort of way. You know what I mean? And be thankful for everything in this life, whether it be good, whether it be bad. Because I promise you right now, I'm living that life, and so is Christian. My whole life we got made fun of so bad, from the story I told before where we were skinny jeans and we would be different people and we just trusted ourselves. We came from a very closed-minded place. I have those same kids through my phone all the time. Hey, I'm looking out for you. Hey, I'm here for you. Anything you need. You weren't there when I was at my lowest. You weren't there when I was struggling super hard. You know what I mean? Be there for that person still. Because I promise you, that's all we can do as humans, and that's all you can do to spread God's love. You know what I mean? It's as simple as this. What would Jesus do? I know it's so corny, but what would God do? You know what I mean? Think of every situation like that. But before you go throw a punch, before you assume somebody's life, look at your own life and put yourself in that shoes and stop the hate. I know I'll never be able to stop hate, but we're not hateful people, so please don't put it on us, because I tell you right now, that's just not where we come from. You know what I mean? We get so many people assume these stories on us, and this is why we started talking, is because people are just making up this random stuff. And it mind blows me. I'm like, dude, we just have to talk, because this is getting out of hand now. This is getting to the point where people are just making up things and assuming things. And that's when hate comes along, is because they are jealous of where you are and that you are having fun in what you're doing and you believe in yourself. It's that simple. Just love God and believe in yourself, man. And I'm just so thankful that we live in a family I'm so thankful that I live in a family that believes in that. And that I have a brother that I love so much with all my heart, and that I get to do this with, and that I get to have a God that lets me do this, and we get to shine our light the best way we can. And the whole goal with this channel is that we want it to mean something. We want it to be for God. I know we do stupid stuff. Sometimes we get caught up in it, and I do apologize greatly for that. But I promise you right now, we mean well with everything we say, with everything we do. We do not ever mean to come across in a way of just hit us up, or because we'll get back to you, I promise. And if things ever get out of hand, and at some point, where times do get busy, I'll always try and be there for a person that needs it, because that's why we're doing this.
Yep. Well said and everything, for sure. But also, success is what you define it to. Like, in my head, you could be the owner of a plumbing company. Exactly. You're a legend. You're successful. You're a champion. You could be, if your dream in life is to be like just someone's right-hand man at that plumbing company, and you're making a killing and you're living your life, and that's what you wanted to do, dude, you're a champion. Like, yep. You're successful. It's whatever you put it, whatever you define your success to be, chase that. Chase your dream, chase your success, chase what you want to do. It could be anything. It could be anything.
Think about it this way. That guy in the corner store that's working at 1 a.m. in the middle of nowhere in some random town, if he wasn't there, you wouldn't have been able to get your snacks and water. You know what I'm saying? And you wouldn't have been able to get your gas. So actually think about those things. Realize think of every nerve and vein in your body, and think about how each foot steps in front of the other. Look around at the trees you're in, any environment you're in. Really take in where you are. I know this life seems like, how did this happen, and this and that, but I promise you right now, if you just dive into God's word and you dive into just actually what the meaning of life is, it'll make sense. I know, I'm never forcing it. We're not the Christians to force it down people's throats. We'll never be that. We're just going to say who we are, and if you like it, come along. It's like, it is what you want it to be. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure. No, and hopefully we're gonna get into that, talking about all that, from our God standpoint. But real quick, I want to get into the music and the baseball, because I guess we do everything, but we're trying to keep this at like an hour and 30 right now. We're like an hour and 5 or something like that. So I guess let's get into that, because that's what me and Nick kind of like our highest levels are in, or like what we were professionals in. So I guess we could talk about that. Of course, there's snowboarding, skateboarding, everything.
Yeah, we never were like, we always know, when you know something at a high level, you definitely want to be the best at everything you do, and you don't want to set a standard for yourself. Like when I watch somebody learn something, I go, how do you not know that? Like when you're good at something, you realize in your head, okay, you know what it takes to be good at something, so try and be the best you can as soon as you do that thing. Don't look at it as a beginner. Look at it as you already have the brain of a professional, and it'll kind of come along. It can come with trial and error, but it's how you look at things. You know what I mean? People make things way more complicated than it is. But you want me to go into you talk about your music?
All right, so. Well, Nick's a musician too, just like I'm a baseball player.
Oh, heavy. That's probably one of my highest knowledge things, I would say, is
music. Yeah, I mean, he's a better musician than I am a baseball player. But yeah, we grew up playing. Grew up playing music. So I got my drum kit at 2 years old and everything. Our grandfather, who we never met, my dad's dad, he was a musician. He played everything: guitar, bass, drums. He also ran a TV company where he sold TVs and fixed them and repaired them, much like what I do now. I do a lot of that stuff on the side. Well, we do it all with TVs and audio and speakers and doing music stuff.
Hold that thought. I'll say this too. We are literally going out and finding any way to make $1 just so we can make this happen too, each and every day.
Yeah. Just trying to chuggle on to make our dream happen and do whatever we need to do to make it happen.
It's not coming easy. We are finding any dollar while,
So yeah, go shopdoitall.com.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, our grandfather we never met. He's much like me, and it's crazy. All the attributes that kind of line up with that. Yeah, electrical dude, everything. So yeah, doing the same stuff I do now. I do the TVs, the speakers, whatever. So yeah, so we grew up playing music. So that, I guess that does tie into this, right? So I grew up playing drums all the way till about 12 or 13, right? And then I ended up getting a recorder. We ended up getting like a little Tascam 8-track machine. And I really wanted to get into the recording because I was such a geek growing up. You can ask anyone in my family. I was the one to fix the computers, do the Wi-Fi, the TV. I was the tech, right? So when it came from my love of music into electronics, I was like, this is a no-brainer. Like, this is so cool. Like, engineering is so cool. Like, microphones, recording, all this stuff, right? So, yeah, so I ended up getting to that. And then at the point I realized I wanted to write music. So to use the record, right? And so Nick at this point wasn't playing guitar, and he was fiddling around with a guitar, but he didn't really know how to play it. And I decided to learn guitar because I just wanted to learn and write music. So
That's not true.
What is not true? Well, no, Nick was the first one to play guitar, but no, you didn't really know how to play guitar. You fiddled. Yeah, you fiddled. I can't. He doesn't even know how he learned how to play guitar, to be honest with you, as he's yelling in the background. So yeah, I started playing. I started woodshedding, and it took me a whole solid year to learn guitar. I was so terrible at it. Same with singing. I was terrible at singing until I just kept doing covers. I kept recording covers, and that's how I got better. But I was like really into Nirvana, and that was the whole thing that kind of changed my life and put my life on a course of music, was Nirvana's Nevermind. I remember listening to that record front to back, and it changed everything I thought I knew about music. And I just, like many other kids, teenagers, just drawn to it. And I was really drawn to Dave Grohl. And so I wanted to be like Dave Grohl. And so that's another reason why because that's another reason. That's another reason I learned everything. So, fast forward a little bit, I start woodshedding. I start just doing a bunch of covers to learn how something was recorded, and then I tried making it sound exactly like it, and that's where I gained a lot of my skills for recording. And then, yeah, I ended up fast forward, like I said, and then I was 19. Recorded bands in the basement, me and Nick recording together and whatever.
Yeah, I was playing music this whole time too.
Yeah, Nick was playing, of course, and Nick ended up learning guitar somehow, just because I knew how. Same with drums. We don't even know how he learned drums. He just became a drummer, and he was kind of like an amazing drummer. He is an amazing drummer. He's better than I am, on a wow factor scale. So, you know, that's another funny thing. Me and Nick, like, we play music together, but like we never, like, I was always like on my own, like writing music. I don't know why. Music's such a weird, touchy subject for us. It's not even bad. It's just
because it's an emotion. Because music's such a huge emotion.
Yeah, I just did it on my own for the longest time. I would record.
And so was I, which is funny.
Yeah, Nick did on his
We were
own.
just making art. Like I said, we have over like 100 songs of our own, both of us, and we're playing every single instrument.
Nick didn't get to do it till later. That's the thing.
Well, probably about like
Nick
19.
was doing baseball at this time, so I was the one doing the music. And yeah, just recording. I would start with the drums. I'd hit record. I'd run to the drums. I'd play the drums, and then okay, I got a good drum track. Let me throw the bass down. I'd throw the bass down. Then I'd throw the guitars down. And then, it's now starting to sound like a real song. And then I would throw the vocals down. And then I'd have it. And then I would mix it. And then I would master it. And then I would put it out or whatever. So, you know, years of that. And then when I was 19, I was in a band. We were playing whatever. And I'm starting to get like better at engineering and better at all that stuff because I've been doing it for so long. I ended up hitting up Robert Lang Studios. Robert Lang himself got back to me about an internship. Robert Lang Studios was where my favorite record was recorded, Foo Fighters' first album. So I always wanted to work there. And I hit up a bunch of studios, like local and mass and everything. And no one got back to me. But somehow Robert got back to me. I just kind of threw it out there because I was like, let's just see.
This isn't going to happen.
I didn't think it was going to happen. I was like, let me just see. And then it happened. And then within a couple months, I'm planning on moving to Seattle. We go to Seattle with my dad, and I check it out, and I get an apartment. I'm like, whoa, like this is sick. Like it's happening.
At what age?
I was 20, 19, yeah, 20. And then COVID happened when I came back, right? COVID happens. So then I don't get to move out there for like 5 months or whatever. And then I end up going to the studio, and then I started as an intern. Within like 2 weeks, I became an engineer there. Robert is like, he's a crazy, mad scientist. If anyone knows him, that place, it's his house. So there's a 3-story thing. It's a huge studio on the bottom where everyone recorded, and then he added a studio in the middle, and then a 3rd floor there's the studio plus his house, and then there's this whole separate like bat cave thing that's like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's a crazy place, wild dude. But within a couple weeks, I end up becoming a teacher there, a teacher and an engineer from being an intern at 20. And I ended up learning this whole new digital board called an SSL duality, which is this crazy thing. And I had studied the manual like crazy. And then I started teaching on that and like teaching the students how to use it. And these students are older than me. They're older than me, and I'm 20 and I'm teaching. And I'm like, what am I? It all happened so fast. I was like, what am I getting myself into here? And I just kept rolling the punches because like you almost got to fake it till you make it to a point. Because like me? I almost faked it into that situation, right? Because I did know a lot, but I didn't know to the level, but I acted like I did. And then once I got in there and figured it out, dude, I picked it up so fast, and I started like understanding all the levels and like getting up and up and up and recording big bands. And a recording I did ended up getting over 1 million streams and stuff, which is really cool. So a lot of stuff there. And then, you know, COVID was happening and everything, and Nick was playing baseball at the same time in Florida. And, you know, I was going back and forth a lot between Florida and Seattle because I was alone. I was alone in my apartment, in my little 1-bedroom apartment.
And so was
with no family. And Nick was the same. He was in Florida, so we're completely diagonal from each other. And he's alone, I'm alone, and we'd never been alone. We were such a tight family up until we split ways and moved. I went out there and Nick went here, and our parents split up. So we were so tight. So it was so weird to be alone.
At 18, around when COVID happened, same time, Our parents split, and it really changed our lives and showed us so much discipline. It's not even funny. But with his music, I remember him always downstairs, and we'd be eating dinner, or we'd be doing anything, and you just hear the drums throughout the house slamming, and it's the same thing when I would play. It's like just the music of that house made that house. Anybody who walked into our house was like, "This is the best house I ever walked into." There's so much feeling
well, at that
and
point
energy
in our
here.
life, we had everyone driving up our driveway because we were in the cars. So all my car friends would pull up the driveway, and then we'd come in and play music.
My parents were just sitting for one day. They just wanted one time to relax. There's like 14 kids in the house, and just like sitting there. Oh, let's go over to Von Breeden's house. Like, you know, that's how it was. And we would always get kids together. We'd always make kids meet other kids. But with his music, you know, he has so much music that he's written and wrote all himself, playing every instrument. And so have I. I have so much music that I've written and wrote and played every instrument. And it's so funny. Till now, the future of this channel and where we want to start heading with things is starting to get back into music and putting our brains together. Let me write some music and let Christian write some music, and let's see what it turns into. You know, because we have such smart brains within music. We're totally different styles.
And when we moved too, I had a whole recording studio in the basement of our house.
It's called Underground Studios.
Underground Studios. So when I lived in Seattle, I went to a music store one day, and you guys probably are not going to know what this is, but there's a patch bay, and some guy was like on Craigslist, and he's like, overheard him say to his buddy, "It's a free patch bay on Craigslist." Oh, I don't need it because they were just guitar players. They weren't studio guys. So I was like, holy crap, no way. So I drove to this dude's house, picked up a patch bay. He ended up being from Keene, New Hampshire, all the way out in Seattle. And so we bonded over that.
So many stories like that.
He's selling his whole studio. He sold me a $3,000 desk for a studio for $200. Sold me a $2,000 tape machine, $100. And I was doing a lot of tape then too. I had a huge 24-track tape machine and then doing all the old school way and everything. But I got this whole studio for like he ended up just giving me a ton of stuff for free. So I have this whole professional grade studio in our basement in New Hampshire. When I came home, I set it up and did everything. And that's another huge reason why I think we would be doing a lot more music with the channel and releasing stuff. We've been trying to figure out ways to make this happen with the limited equipment we have, because we got to get it shipped down, and it's a good amount of money to get all that stuff shipped down, and then have a place to put it, and a place to play drums, record.
Yeah, and all the money's going into the business right now.
And all the money's going into Motocross and the company. So,
Yeah, but we're trying to get back to that. Getting into music, guys. You don't understand. But what's crazy is it's so weird. As time, me and Christian have never lost music. Like when we sit down and pick up an instrument, it's like this again. Like I don't know where it comes from, and I don't want to brag or be cocky or anything, but our knowledge within music is just like it's like because we listen to so much music, we're just
it's just in our blood.
It's in our blood.
Our whole dad's side of the family.
It doesn't leave you. The way I hit like every single snare hit. I don't lose feeling. My hands never get cramped up. It's like I'm still as loose as when I was playing all the time. In anything I do, it's super weird with music like that.
But just like Nick with baseball, and he'll say it too, there was a point like when I came home from Seattle, it got dark for a while because, I felt like I was on top of the world, and I came home because me and Nick wanted to be together and live like kids again. And then when I came home, it was like, post-COVID, post-growing up, post-living on your own. And when you come back, you almost feel like, I felt like it was like an ego death in a way or something. I don't know. It was so weird. So I got out of music for a long time, a year, 2 years. And then I started, when we were in New Hampshire still, I started working in studios in Boston again. But it wasn't till motocross came, when I got heavy and motocross started riding again, it got me out of all my depression. It got me out of all this crazy stuff, and music wasn't doing it. It's so weird. And I guess that's why I haven't been doing it as of late, which I do. I shouldn't say that. I still do recording for bands and things here and there, but it's not as heavy as I was, or writing music per se, because I fell in love with motocross so much. And I don't know why that is with the whole music stuff, but it just, you got to follow your heart. And then I ended up getting photography in the transition of us do it all. I did motocross photography for a long time. Again, Negative Films NH, you can look it up on Instagram. and that brought us into this world pretty much. But I guess Nick can go over his baseball and his whole life with baseball.
What do we have for time?
We got 10 minutes until.
Okay. Yeah. So there's, like I said, guys, I promise you right now, we're gonna talk more. So it's hard to get all this right now, and we're very excited about it. So we will get to this stuff. We'll even
plenty of stories.
We'll even go a whole, if you want a whole, talking point about just music or just baseball. But real quick, I want
that's the cliff notes.
Yeah. With my baseball career.
Wait, actually, I'll say one thing too. We might be doing. We were thinking actually about doing some live performances like on this like show, and in like maybe like 10 minutes in or something, and like doing a little song or something.
Guys, this is just the first.
We're just brainstorming.
This is the first render into this show, so just wait till the ideas we have with this. It's going to be really.
We want
cool.
it to be so different.
Oh, we don't just wait
and use all our talents.
Yeah,
too.
We will. But
because look at Nick's art. We haven't even got into this. You guys see this?
Oh gosh, I didn't even think about it.
Nick's
right.
art.
Well,
we'll get into that.
Yeah, we'll get
another
into
one maybe. But Nick's art is insane. You guys can all see it on the shirts. I
was gonna say, I think a lot of people know that on this, but I want to say real quick about my baseball career. I'll be very short on it, but
no, you don't have to be short.
I think in my head, I always knew from when I was a kid. Like I said, my mom again instilled in me, never give up, and she just kept always saying that, just never give up. Every day I'd be coming home from a bad game or something like that. This is your dream. You always, and all I ever, me and Christian would go to baseball games all the time. Never MLB games, never watched MLB. I never even watched baseball growing up. I hated baseball watching it. I could only play it. And I think it's boring other than being a catcher or a pitcher. Because if you're not in the game, it's just boring to me. And,
which is weird.
We would go, yeah.
He doesn't watch MLB or know any names or.
No, I don't know. I still don't. I'll never watch baseball. You'll never catch me watching baseball. But, we would go to minor league games because we always thought it was so cool because the logos, the helmets, just everything about minor league ball was cool because everybody was coming up and they had to try 10 times harder, and it was just so the stadiums and everything about it, like the logos, and it just had this weird personality to it, and I loved it. And so I would always want to I never wanted to make it to the MLB. I wanted just to make it as a minor league baseball player. That was my goal in life. I just wanted to wear that S100 helmet, and I wanted to have I just wanted to travel. That's all I ever wanted to do. And I knew that from such a young age. That's what I wanted to do. So when you know something you want to do, you're never going to stop wanting to do it. So when I was growing up,
T-ball, you could talk. You could talk about
T-ball. In T-ball, it always, when Christian had games, I wasn't even old enough to be on a field yet, and I would run out in Christian's games and play, and I was hitting home runs off a tee in the T-ball field, and it was like that, and I never hit one home run after that day though. And up my whole little league career, I would throw as hard as I could as a pitcher, and I was a pretty good pitcher, and I was a catcher too, and catching started very young. I fell in love with it because I was in every single part of the game. And again, it was like tough. You had to be tough to be a catcher. You couldn't be a wimp to be a catcher. And I knew that at a young age. Like, I'd take balls off the face or whatever. And I fell in love with catching. Never hit a home run up until I got out of Little League, which is funny. Until they made it a bigger fence, I started hitting home runs. And I just clicked once I got out of Little League. Really took it serious. I met with these Dominican kids later on in my high school years. They were the best thing for me at that point in time. We were working very hard. We had a lot of MLB teams looking at us. I'll never forget this one story. It's actually the craziest story. I got invited to area code games from the Yankees, and I blew it. I did really bad at the area code games because I had a bad day that day. And all of a sudden, we were out. This was in Hartford, Connecticut, the area code games, and we were all out. We were out in Manchester at our practice field. All of a sudden, this guy doesn't know he didn't think we knew he was there, but the Texas Ranger scout shows up in a Chevy whatever it is, the Suburban. Chevy Suburban, and he's just watching me and my it was like 7 of us at the time. It was just me. I was the only white kid with all these Dominicans, and they're the coolest kids. Still talk to them now. they were just watching us, and they wanted two of our pitchers. So it was Alvis and Albert, and it was me as a catcher, and they wanted us, and we were getting looked at. And the Texas Ranger scout comes, and he just watches us practice in his Chevy Suburban all the way across the way. And I'm like, dude. And then people like the Phillies and all these teams were coming to watch us at every little thing. And I was their catcher, so I was always hanging out with them. And we were working from 4 a.m. till 2 p.m. every single day, grinding. We were always together. Just no one in New Hampshire is doing this. Cold winter days, we'd be out there hitting balls, throwing, catching pens. We were acting pro every single day, because as bad as they wanted it to get out of the Dominican, I wanted it that bad to make it happen out of a small town. That's what I'm saying. Nobody really felt like me. And I learned this from a very short age. And so what happened?
Young age?
Yeah.
Short age?
That's brain can thing. Young age. And my mom just kept going. You know, my dad taught me to hard work, so that clicked of just keep working hard. And then it was, you know, my mom, keep dreaming. And I just kept thinking of that through my whole career. Then my junior year comes around. I started working with the Red Sox. I was training with the catching coach. His name is Chad Epperson. I was playing with him, and had some stuff with them. And then we were working with the Angels. I was hitting with them for a while. And just working around all these pro guys. And I always knew what it felt like to be around these guys. I always knew I was supposed to be meant for that moment. Then 2020, COVID comes around. I turn my senior year, and everything went off. I didn't get a baseball season. And that was my year to go off. That was my year to show that I could get drafted. And it didn't happen. I never got the chance. I had an agent at the time that my Greg LaRocca, the best guy on earth, he was my mentor, and he's the one who really brought me to the highest level. He's my hitting coach. He got me to where I was. He got
baseball
me to
barn.
Yeah, the baseball barn.
On shopdoitall.com.
Shopdoitall.com. Baseball barn. Greg LaRocca.
Baseball barn.
Check it out.
Do it all.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So, yeah, he got me to where I was. I had an agent. He was Clayton Kershaw's agent, and he said, "All right, I got all the stuff from the Red Sox, and they were talking about what they could do, blah blah blah. I didn't get a season, so COVID hits. That's it. I didn't get anything, so I said, what do I do? So I started working concrete. I stopped playing baseball. Was working concrete with my dad for a while. Then I said, screw this, man. I was doing it for a long time. I said, I want to go play baseball again. And at the last moment, this school called Inspiration Academy changed my life. They texted me, and all I can say about them, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. It showed me military discipline. They are the best school on planet Earth. I worked my ass off. It was my only offer. I went to a post-grad. It was Inspiration Academy right next to IMG Academy. We always played them.
The draft went to 5 rounds. That's kind of why.
Yes.
So, like, coming out of high school, Nick was a very good player. Definitely, it wasn't within the 5 rounds, though. But
no.
Lower, upper round draft.
Yeah, it would have been.
But this was the best thing. This is how God works.
Yeah, this is how God works. So
because Nick's discipline was not ready for that moment.
I was working hard and talented, but I was also still a little scared of big moments. And it took me time to go through this school at Inspiration Academy to be ready for those big moments, because I learned that you can push through anything through this. They taught me that. Like, they truly taught me that you can get through anything. Went to that school, left because that year is when my parents split, so I hated baseball. And once I started hating baseball, I said, I'll never do this again.
And I came home.
He came home from Seattle, so he's in Seattle at this point.
Because he went home, when he went home from baseball, and he was having a good time at home, I'm like, well, I kind of want to be there. You know what I mean? That was where the maturity lacked, right? I kind of was like...
Yeah. But yeah, we just wanted to be back together. Me and Christian were missing each other so much. It was hard to be away from each other, and we had this weird feeling that we had to grow up, but that was only reality saying we had to grow up. It wasn't, like I said. But so, yeah, I go there. Then I left there because I lost the love of baseball, and if you lose the love, don't do it. You only supposed to... It's a kid's sport, so you're supposed to have fun with it. And then I got back, started working concrete again. All of a sudden, I'm working for like a year concrete. I'm going through heavy anxiety and depression at this time, making music. I got heavy into music, just making music in the basement. And heavy, like, didn't just, you hear all the stories, just, heavy depression. And I bought my bike at that time, and my agent, I'm outside power washing my bike one day. My agent calls me randomly. He hasn't talked to me ever since COVID, because we got left off at that day. Like, once COVID happened, we realized we couldn't do anything, so I stopped talking to him, and it was a year later now. He calls me one day randomly out. I'm power washing my bike, and he goes, "Hey Nick, you still playing baseball?" I said, "No." Why? What's up? And he said, "Oh, just wondering." And I said, "Okay." I hang up the phone. I run upstairs and said, "Mom, my agent just called me." And she goes, "What?" And I said, "Yeah, should I call him back?" I said, I feel like that meant something. She's like, "Of course that meant something. Yes, call him back." So I called him back, and he said, "Hey, let me see if
Actually, I'll say this. What? That was me who said that.
Oh, was it?
It was me.
Oh, okay. All right. My bad.
I said that. I said, "Dude, you better call him back."
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. My bad.
I was like,
head injuries. I forgot. Yeah. So Christian said it. I said, "All right, I got to call him back." I called him back. He said, "You want to go play in Kansas City for the Kansas City Monarchs, blah, blah, blah. How long can you be ready?" And at this point, I had a sprained thumb from something, I forget, and I couldn't hit that well.
Probably.
I think it was riding, yeah, and I couldn't catch that well. So he said, "How long do you need to be ready?" I said, "Dude, give me 3 weeks." And I hadn't played in a year, and I knew I had to train my ass off. I went to the gym every single day. I practiced. I started getting everything up, and this, and that, and I was ready to go. And the day I went to get flown out to go play for this team, my agent calls me. He goes, "Oh, hey, by the way, do you have the vaccine?" I said, "No." He goes, "Yeah, well, that's something we're really going to have to, you're really going to have to take, because without it, you can't play." I said, "That's funny, because I got buddies on the team that didn't take it, and they were just trying to force it on the new players." And I said, "No way, dude, I'm not taking it." So I passed up a huge opportunity, didn't take the COVID shot, and lost that opportunity with the Kansas City Monarchs. Stopped playing again. Went and started working concrete again in the cold winters in New Hampshire with my dad.
And back to riding. It was just riding in concrete is what it was.
And then all of a sudden, same thing. I'm working concrete, and I sat there. I said, "I can't do this. I want to go play baseball again." Each and every time. I always thought I was getting older and older. I'm going to lose my chance. But I kept telling myself, no, it's what I know how to do. It's what I want to do. It's my dream. I emailed every single team in, this is like 2023. I emailed every single team.
It's like we were lost at this point.
Oh, yeah, we were lost.
Like I did the same thing with music. It's like I didn't love music all the way. I don't know what you felt about baseball, but it was like, it's like, what the heck else am I going to do? Yeah. And it was like you're gravitating to that dream.
And all your friends
like,
around you are like telling you, "Oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, or you should have a job, you should have money in the savings account." Don't listen to that. Like, do what you want to do, because I'm still...
you got to do what you got to do to live.
Well, of course.
But yes.
No, of course. And every situation is different, right? I mean, we got blessed with this life, but...
We were just, you know what I mean? It's like, you just gravitating towards it because, like, we just wanted to do what we wanted to do and live our dreams, right? And that's what ultimately became this, and that's why
but
broadened out to this, but...
So...
And why we kept getting denied somehow and always pushed to this, what we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
But...
So... Yeah, exactly. And so what happened was I emailed every single team, and just like Christian emailing Robert Lang, only one team reached out. I emailed every single team.
You put it on Twitter.
Oh.
It was a Twitter video.
Well, I forgot. I got a full ride to a school in Ohio. I'm not talking about that point.
Oh, okay.
I went and played I did concrete, went and played in Pickwell, Ohio, got a full ride to a school for 3 months.
Crashed
skateboarding, hit my head. My coach got mad. And I had a concussion.
You were throwing you guys. He was throwing
that's a long story. I don't want to get into that. But basically, I hit my head while my coach told me, "You better not be doing anything." And I was out skateboarding. I slammed my head and got a concussion. And I ended up hurt. Left there, came back, started working concrete. And then this is when this happened. I emailed every single team. And I said, "Hey, my name's Nicholas Von Breen. This is my resume, blah, blah, blah. I didn't get a chance. I got screwed over, blah, blah, blah." So no one reached out, and actually, no one reached out, and we moved down to Florida, and
I went to do the photography thing.
Yep, and I moved down to Florida.
Real quick, I just want to say one thing. I'm sorry, Nick. That was a wing and a prayer. That was a wing and a prayer of we were lost. We were so lost, and we just sent it. And we sent it down here
for
the photography and for Nick's baseball because we knew we had to get. When we were living in our childhood house in the town and everything, it just wasn't working for us.
It wasn't
I
working.
sold that tape machine that guy sold me for the $100 or whatever. I flipped it for like $1,000.
Yep.
That was the only money we had to get down here.
Yep.
In my van.
And you want to know what else? There's another funny thing. So when we moved down here, it was a wing and a prayer, and we end up living here because of just trusting ourselves.
We thought we were coming back home.
Yeah, we thought we were coming back home. We never ended up coming back home because I started playing baseball down here. I went at
Tell that story.
Yeah, I was at Crestview
We'll tell
Sport.
the Jonathan story.
Yeah, I was.
We were training.
I was training for nothing to email these teams for one hope. And there was this one random guy out at the field that was thrown into a net, and I just went up to him and I said, "Hey, do you need a catcher?" And then we just became friends, and I started catching him. He said, "Hey, you should come down to this thing called Crestview Sports Performance." I said, "Oh, okay. It's in Florida,
in Jupiter.
Jupiter, yeah.
Johnny Crawford, though, was his name.
Yeah,
Johnny
Johnny
Crawford's brother from the Red
Yes,
Sox.
Cutter Crawford's
Shout
Johnny
out Johnny Crawford.
Yes, his brother plays for the Red Sox, and he
He played for the Tigers too.
Yeah, he played for the Tigers, and he said, "All right, come down." So I started catching all these pro guys. I'm hanging out with all these MLB players now, and now I'm starting to be around everybody I knew I was supposed to be around. I started catching them, and I was like, "This is sick." Like I knew I was supposed to be in this moment a long time ago, and I'm finally here, even training with them. It's still a blessing. Each and every day, I'm so blessed to be in that moment. And then one day, this random coach, I didn't know was a coach, he was catching, says, "Hey, are you looking to play?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm with this team in New Mexico, blah, blah, blah." And he said, "It's a pro independent team. We can get you." And I said, "Yeah." I sat there. I cried. It wasn't the Red Sox. It wasn't, Kansas City Monarchs highest level. But I heard pro, and I said, I made it. Because I knew where I was supposed to be. And I just started crying. I called Christian, and I called my mom, and I started crying. I said, I did it. I got one offer. I'm going to play pro. And I took it in the van that you guys see now. Drove all the way up. We drove from Florida to New Mexico. And as we're on the way to New Mexico, my coach calls me, the one that told me to go to New Mexico. He says, "Hey, you want to go to Colorado Springs? It's the next level up in the Pioneer League." And he says, "Go catch out there." And so I went to spring training with the Rocky Mountain Vibe. I was playing with them. And they ended up getting rid of me because they had a full roster, and they said I was too skinny, and they wanted me to go get with some guy. I probably shouldn't mention that, but yeah, it was a weird story. They sent me back down to New Mexico, so we take the van, and we had to be there within a certain time. So we drove through the night to get to Colorado, and we got there. I was like half off sleep, and I had to go play for these guys. And then I got released from there, went to New Mexico, and finished. Played my first pro season in New Mexico, and it was the best time of my life, man. I got to play in front of a lot of people, and I got to go start traveling and play baseball, and got paid in home runs. You were supposed to get paid that year, but no one ended up getting paid. Something happened with the league, and the only way to make money was to hit home runs. So it's like a privateer motocross. Go to a local race. I was hitting home runs to make money, and it was pretty crazy because people would all put money in a hat, and all the money that went inside the hat would go to the player who hits a home run. So that's how I made money.
Yeah, these are little minor league stadiums, and they got packed because the town was small and loved it.
Yeah, these small towns just loved the baseball. So yeah, I ended up playing pro baseball there. And
I didn't have my van either. I had to ride a scooter around because I gave Nick my van, and I just because you know what I mean. What else am I gonna do? He needed somewhere to be, to stay, to do all the stuff, to travel, to do this, and that van's seen a lot.
Oh, that van was as recent as it is. Again, that's seen everything. But so from that day, yeah, I lived in a camper in the middle of Santa Fe, New Mexico, and then I lived in a shack in with 8 guys with 1 bathroom, and we all had to fight for the bathroom. And we were in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico. There was a town of 20 people, and there was a movie called Young Guns shot there. And I lived in the house that the movie was shot in. And my host dad and host family was a cop. He was a sheriff of the town. And it was the craziest thing. I was walking around in a desert with this one kid. The son of the host family had a dirt bike, and I rode the dirt bike around again while playing pro baseball and skateboarding all the time, going out in Albuquerque with my friends and just trying to make things happen. And we have seen the whole world. That's another thing too. Not the whole world, but we've seen almost all of America from all of our traveling all the time. I promise you, we have seen so much, and I love to travel. Me and Christian love traveling, so it's our goal to keep traveling and just carry this on. And this is why Do It All means so much, because there's so much behind it.
But, and then after that, I don't know, injuries. Oh, yeah, you ruined your arm. You're going to go play another season and get up to another level. And Nick threw his arm out. We were at Unadilla Motocross, and we went to Cooperstown, and he tried throwing as fast as he could. He took 97
to
pull
impress
down
my dad
without stretching, and pulled his arm. And then after that, it was
over.
Then it never healed for a year or so, and then we did motocross.
And then I just got heavy into motocross and said, all right, well.
And then the wrist thing happened.
Yeah.
And then Nick was like, Nick on as a pitcher, as you guys probably saw recently, he was a pitcher. And again, Nick was starting to run it up again, getting good as a pitcher, and the nerve problems in his head.
I just couldn't hold on.
Was worsening from the pitching.
Mm-hmm.
So it's God's pointing in the directions that we need to go, and
I say
that's kind of what we should really end this on. It's just God.
He's so good, and all I could say is just thank you, Lord, for everything. At the end of every video, you guys don't understand how much it means to us. When I say thank you guys so much for watching, I just love you guys and love every moment so much, and just God bless you guys all, and God is just so good. I love you guys so much, and
thank you guys.
We're the YouTubers saying that now, so yeah.
Yep. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
All right.
And thank you for all the support. And like Nick said, shopdoitall.com, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See ya.